Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today we are streaming. We are going to be streaming the next part of our painting of the Zax Jakar model. Don't know why I went to rosters there, that's no good at all. So this is for... Hey Chess Fabregas, how are we doing? Hello YouTube. Hello YouTube indeed. Now as you can see, this is our entry for the Christmas painting competition, the holiday competition. I'm just straight line there. It's not as good as ours. We're going to be going over to the wonderful Zax and Slopper with... I don't think it's... This is my glowing one where I just made Slopper nuclear. Yeah, that's the one. Santa Zax, here we go. So, this is our Santa Zax so far. We've got a little bit of work to do on him yet to get him ready for competition entries. For instance, we haven't done anything with the fur, we've just coloured it. We haven't figured out what to do with these, the rest of the gun, the boots, the saddle. We've got plenty of things to do. Really curious as to what to do with this. I've got no idea, but I've got I know things that I like the idea of. I like the idea of making each of these into little glowing lights and things. But again, I need to try and work through it gradually to actually make some progress. So, and most importantly, we've also got the bugged version when the game nearly lost my entire file and created this instead of my painting entry, which is magnificent. So apparently, as far as I can tell, this is the model from the Founders Pack. So the base version is this. So this is the base version of the Founders Pack here, Zax and Slopper, which honestly I think is a great skin. It's really cool. And I'm assuming you've seen it already, but the other one will be the Astra one, which is this one here, which is Astra and Servidor. And this is my Ironheart inspired version. So this is Astra and her Iron Man, Hulkbuster, Ironheart themed robot. So pretty happy with that as well. But today we are on to Zax. So, not nuclear, Santa Zax. So what we were doing last time, one of my favourite bits so far is we've done the mines, and they've all been made out to look like Christmas puddings. So when you actually see them in game, they genuinely do look like Christmas puddings. It's fantastic. I'm really happy with how they've turned out. We spent a lot of time doing Slopper's ear to make it look like a Christmas tree. And on top of that, it's not only a Christmas tree, but it's got a little tub for it to sit in as well. And then, because in my household, normally, my family home, we did have the star or the angel to go on top of the tree, but since we've moved in together with my fiance, we actually have a little cute Santa hat, and we've been putting a Santa hat on the top of our tree for the last few years, and so I decided to put that in this as well. So that's what we're doing there. Instead of Rudolph having a glowing nose, he's got a glowing antenna, so this is going to be our sort of echolocation, radio location, because it's obviously in the story Rudolph guided everyone with his red nose, but Slopper doesn't even have a nose. So we've gone for that instead. Zax got this Santa outfit as a Christmas present, so it's got 2 Zax written on it as his little Christmas gift. And he woke up on Christmas morning in his pyjamas, which is what we're drawing here, and decided to go out and try out all his new toys, which is including a gift-wrapped gun, his new Santa outfit, and Slopper's new ear. So nice and festive. We've got a lot more work to get this contest ready. Oh yeah, we filled in the carrots for Rudolph. And we also did the eye. So Slopper's eye is actually a bauble as well. So we've got a little Christmas bauble decoration as Slopper's eyeball, which is bizarre, but I kind of like it. Pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. So, yeah, exactly. Tiny details everywhere is the plan. I'm trying to figure out what I do with different things. So while I am doing that, I should probably just carry on doing these Christmas trees for Zax's pyjamas. But this is such a mammoth effort, and they're not quite... they're never going to be perfect at this size. So let's just do this. We'll zoom in. We'll colour pick this. Is that the right colour? Yeah, it looks like it. So we'll colour pick that. We'll actually just put it in the palette as well. Make sure we don't lose it. Shrink it down nice and small, and start doing some more Christmas trees. So the question is, where do we want to do them? So I think we need to do sort of... so this is actually stuck out slightly, so maybe we can even see behind this, which I don't want to be able to, but yep, we can. Good. Good, thanks for that game. Give me more things that I need to figure out how to paint. So, we'll just go with... Okay, so that doesn't have any size at all, so that's no help. Hello? Okay, so bigger again. This is the awkward part with it only being a couple of pixels, is that it's really hard to actually get to the right length that we need, so we need to go bigger again because we zoomed in so much. Oh, come on. Why is it not working? Oh, it's done. So sometimes there are issues when you zoom in too much and things that... There we go, so... This is about as far as we can zoom in. Okay, and get... I mean, these are never going to be the right size. In fact, these actually look slightly clearer than the ones we've done previously, so I'm going to go over that again. How does that look clearer again when I haven't even zoomed out? I've just done the same thing. It's different again. Either way, I do actually prefer this. So I'm actually going to very quickly go over the ones we've done already, because zoomed out, they look a lot nicer. So I think we're about here in terms of zoom. There we go. Maybe we even colour these in a bit, but for now this is working out well. I forgot we can't actually hold shift on some of these because they go over multiple panels. Now we hold shift, there we go. I'm guessing we might have to colour these in as well. But let's just try and get the shapes right for the moment. Because I wasn't particularly happy with these in the first place, and they took a really long time in the current pattern that they were in. Just because how small they were, you had to go over the line about 10 times for it to acknowledge. And these might not be quite as distinct, but I think they get the look across quite easily, and are much easier to draw through. I think we're going to be colouring these in, yeah. I think that's how this is going to end up going. Let's just get the last one here. In fact, let's just fill that in slightly. When zoomed out, this looks a lot better. Like, it's so much more distinct. And I think that works. So now the question is, do we fill it in? So I'm going to just fill a couple in here. I think we need to go in again. There we go. And see if these do look distinct enough to be noticeable as Christmas trees, or if they just look like green piles of rubbish. Because I think this is the right colour. Like, I had trouble. I think I mixed this colour because I didn't find one that was perfect for what I wanted it to look like. I think that's good enough, and then we'll put a little glint of yellow on the top of them, and that will be a like for a little star on top of the tree. And then I think we just don't even need to go into any more detail than that at all. So they're not going to be perfect, but I know I've said this before. I am no artist. I am definitely someone who's just doing this because it's fun. Not because I think I've got any chance of doing a good job. So let's see what we can sort out. There we go. I think my motto on these should just be good enough. You know, like, it may not be great, but it's good enough. So, Chess, have you done an entry for the contest at all? You giving anything a shot, or trying anything out, or are you just content to stick with playing the game? What's your favourite, or your sort of style of player? I'll go just a little bit there to make it more obvious that there is one. And next one up here. So here we are going to zoom in a little more to make it more. Actually, no, I think that thicker line does still work better. Just fill this in. Also, I will say, if you're still here, it's a very unusual combination to have a hobby of both chess and football. So I definitely think that's interesting to see. I am not particularly knowledgeable about either topic. I can play chess, but... Oh, you haven't... Yeah, well, we've only actually got 3 days, isn't it? Because it's the 19th it ends. What have you got planned? Have you got any ideas yet? Or are you just sort of going to see what takes your fancy when you start painting? Because to be honest, that's what I did. Hey, Corolla! Chess and football is basically Blood Bowl, right? I mean... I don't know how to answer that. Because I feel like Blood Bowl is like the tabletop version of like chess boxing. Or even just like... just rugby, really. Who knows? Also, Corolla, I cannot believe this is your first time in this chat. I swear we are constantly talking to each other in Twitch chat of varying different ways, shapes and forms, and yet it seems to have never been that we've been in the same one at the same time. Oh yeah, World Cup final. So who's in the final? I'm assuming France beat Morocco. I don't know anything about football. I just know that France beat my country, so that now I have to hope that they win. I think this is like my... I want to say 7th stream or something like that. Like, I don't do them often. It's usually around 1 a week, sometimes 2. 'Cause it's more like sort of where I can fit them in. But I think this is something like my 7th or 6th or 7th stream of Moonbreaker itself. But a lot of the time it's the case that I just sort of... Oh, hang on, I've just noticed I'm dropping frames. If I'm dropping frames, that means that my game needs... my PC needs me to shut down Discord. My PC is that bad. I can't have anything else open at the same time, or I start dropping frames or not encoding quickly. But yeah, no, I've done like a few streams here and there, but I can't. Unfortunately, I can't stream as consistently as I'd like to because of real commitments at the moment. For some reason, these trees are getting bigger and bigger, but it's fine. It's Christmas. They're allowed to be stylized. I think these are going to look pretty mediocre, but I feel like we've put enough effort into the other parts of the outfit. Actually, I don't know. These look kind of good from a distance. Oh, we missed that one entirely. Was it Argentina versus France? So yeah, I have to root for France just because, first of all, they beat our team, because I'm from the UK. So England lost to France, so we have to root for them so that we can say at least we lost to the winners. But honestly, I'd probably root for France anyway. I know people like to have a rival with France, but personally, I love France. I think it's a fantastic country. Oh, Chess, have you never heard of Blood Bowl? Oh, Blood Bowl is, yeah, it's like tabletop Warhammer American football, like, board game with squares, and I don't understand how anyone even came up with the idea of Blood Bowl. It is like... You just have to be some sort of unusual person. I can imagine there would be a lot... like. So people have actually suggested that if there's a bit of like a lull in Moonbreaker content or things to like make content about in Moonbreaker, a few people have actually suggested I should look at getting into Blood Bowl and trying to like start streaming that as well, or like doing YouTube content on Blood Bowl. I was like, I mean, it's all well and good, but I mean, I want to be primarily a Moonbreaker stream, and what I'm thinking of doing is maybe having like 1 video a week or 2, maybe with doing other like non-strategic content. So yeah, it does. I know I've got one of the Blood Bowl games on Steam, I'm just not sure which it is. So I should probably have a look and see which one I've got. But one of the things that I think I might want to do is starting once a week doing non-strategic games, but do that on top of my regular content, because I still want Moonbreaker to be the focus of everything. I want to have daily Moonbreaker content no matter what, but I might look at trying to do, maybe on a Sunday, do 2 videos, and have, say, one of Moonbreaker and something else that I just do a playthrough of. And I think at the moment, for a playthrough, my first choice would probably be Disco Elysium, because I've never played it, and people keep recommending it to me. Do you know what? I would do Subnautica if it wasn't for the fact that I have played both Subnautica games start to finish. I know a lot about them. Like, I'm not going to have a very good reaction content to Subnautica. Like, I am just going to be another person playing Subnautica with nothing really to add there. Whereas I think if I'm doing something I've never done before, then that gives me a little bit of a, you know, at least some additional interest to provide. You know, if someone else loves a game, like I would like watching reaction content quite a lot. So if I saw someone playing Subnautica, do you know what? I have never killed a Reaper. Absolutely not. I'm not that player. I'm very much enjoy the story. I've never really been much for modding, so I can't remember if I've even modded a single game. I think I've modded one or two, but I can't remember what. And like, I know modding can add so much, but I'm much more of a, I like playing the gaming experience as intended sort of person. And this is a weird ass looking tree. So like, I've got no problem with modding, but it's just sort of, it's never been something that's really been on my radar. And now I've said that, there's probably some sort of radar related mod someone's going to recommend to me. But yeah, no, I'm much more of a, you know, game experience as intended kind of person. I think even the only time I've ever used things that are actually sort of adjusting gameplay and things like that on a regular basis has been in things like GTA, when, you know, all the cheats are lots of fun. I've done it in things like Final Fantasy IX, when they have all the speed up adjustments and things like that. America's not wrong about everything sports. It's just that you do everything in shorter bursts. I mean, your football games are literally played in about 30-second bursts. I actually really like American football. Like my fiance's brother is actually quite a big fan. I've actually got an American football T-shirt in my wardrobe somewhere. I wanted a proper like jersey, but my lovely sister decided to skimp out and get me the cheap one instead. I said to her, I was like, I went to Australia when I was in like my gap between school and university. So I went to Australia and I bought her back like a fairly expensive pair of like these branded boots called Ugg boots, which I'm sure you've heard of, but they're like originally Australian, I think. And so I bought some of those back for her. It cost a fortune. And then when she went to America, I was like, I just want an American football jersey, like a proper one, like the teams wear and all that sort of thing. And she came back with just a cheap T-shirt. Like, it literally still had the price tag on it. I'm like, this is less than a quarter of what I spent on you when I went on a trip, you cheeky thing. I still liked it. It was great, but I've had it for so long now that it's ended up being one of the T-shirts I use for painting in. So like, if I'm going to do like painting around the house, like painting walls and that sort of thing, out comes my American football jersey, I suppose I should say, or T-shirt. And it was funny as well because initially, because I don't know all the players and that sort of thing, like I don't know anything about it, I actually thought she'd got me a fake one initially as well. Yeah, that's utterly ridiculous. So ridiculous, I love it. But yeah, I thought my sister got me a fake American football T-shirt initially because it was of a player called Hakeem Nicks, and I thought it was because he played for, I think, the New York Giants, I want to say, at the time. And so she got me this T-shirt saying Knicks on, and it was a Giants T-shirt. And I was like, is this one of those really bad like fakes where it's got like Reebok, Nike and things on the same one? So I genuinely thought we had like I'd been bought like a fake one where it said, you know, New York Knicks and New York Giants on the same T-shirt, even though they're different sports. But it turns out it was actually just the player's surname, so it wasn't quite as bad as it could have been. Yeah, the ads have to fit in somewhere. Oh, what a world we live in. Advertising is both fantastic and frustrating. Also, I've never realised that Zax is just like, hey, get my chest out. 75 minutes of ads, 65 minutes of playing Stanley rounds, 17 minutes of replays. Nice. One thing that makes me laugh is the post that does the round every so often saying, it was like an American person saying, why do all European football coaches look like James Bond villains? And someone replied being, yeah, but yours all look like Austin Powers villains. which I thought was very, very funny. I think we might have just got a little bit of that, but we'll go over that in a bit. Anyway, neaten it up slightly. Hopefully soon we'll be able to stop drawing tiny Christmas trees and draw something, you know, relevant. We'll just fill this in. I can't see how far this is meant to go, so I doubt anyone looking at any photos I take is going to worry that that specific Christmas tree is not quite right. The question is to you guys, do these look like pyjamas? You know, do these look like something Zax would be wearing to bed the night before Christmas and getting up and playing in them? I kind of think they do. And the other question is, do I put the same pattern on his actual trousers? Like, there's not much of it, so we could get away with doing a very small amount, because these are chaps that he's wearing over the top. Yeah, I mean, that sort of thing. As long as it's something festive-y, like pyjamas or... I was going to say, yeah, do the pants, but it's only going to be these bits. Because the rest of it is actually a pair of chaps. Yeah, I mean, Christmas sweater's fine. Anything Christmassy. Like, as long as it, like, it looks like it, you know... I wanted to make it clear that, hey, Dragon Raven! All Christmas clothes do kind of look like PJs, that is correct. I've got a couple of different Christmas clothes here. Like, weirdly enough, I've got a really cozy Christmas, like, sweatshirt thing. And it's like a proper sweatshirt. Hello, Dragon Raven. Lovely to see you. I'm glad that you're here in a capacity of a lovely friendly viewer rather than utterly destroying me in games, which is the usual interaction between us. But yeah, I've got a Christmas sort of sweater thing, which in the UK we'd usually call like a jumper, but it's definitely a sweater. And it's got the anatomy of a Christmas dinner across it. So it's got like figures and diagrams and like a couple of puns relating to the food that you'd have at Christmas and that sort of thing. And so it's got, you know, it's quite an entertaining like jumper, sweatshirt, whatever you want to call it. And I like that one a lot. I wear that every year. And I've got another one that's just a knitted one with a giant reindeer on the front with a bobble nose. So that's the standard plan on that front. Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave it at the top. I don't think I want to put any more trees there. I want to make these a little bigger at the bottom and maybe put one more in here so that it doesn't look like the pattern just randomly stops. So let's just extend these first. Yeah, we've got the whole Moonbreaker community. Turns out this is the best channel. Who needs any dev streams when you could have a random guy sat in a spare bedroom in Yorkshire in the UK? I just made that tree look worse. Okay. You got games against Mar, Charlie and Virginia. I got... Oh, who was it? Someone beginning with R. I can't go into Discord and check because if I go into Discord and check, my stream will go mad. But someone beginning with R, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, you're in the UK right now. Amazing. Are you from the UK, or are you just living there, or are you just like staying there, or what are you doing in our wonderful country? Ah, oh, love a Nando's, and obviously the phrase has to be a cheeky Nando's. Maybe that's even too high. Absolutely love Nando's. Oh, amazing. Whereabouts are you in the UK? Have you gone to a nice part, or have you gone to a rubbish part? Because I absolutely love this country. Like, I've not yet been to the States. I think I definitely meant where are you in the UK? I hope you're not in Florida in the UK. Do you know what? I always wanted to go to Florida more than anywhere else in the States because I used to play a lot of ice hockey games on my PlayStation 2. And I would always play the... oh my god, is it Florida Panthers? No. Is it the Panthers? I want to say Panthers as the ice hockey team from Florida. But I always wanted to play them. Like, I wanted to go and I wanted to see the Panthers play. And I think I left it too long because the player that I wanted to go see, I'm pretty sure he retired a while ago. So I'm like, there's no sense in trying to live up there. I'll be in Scotland tour. So basically, Dragon Raven, you're going to go past me. Like, I'm going to be on your way up towards Scotland, is the best way to describe where I'm going to be. But Scotland is still quite a long way north from where I am. But then again, my understanding is that people in America seem to think of distances as being way shorter than we do. Like, for me, travelling up to Scotland where I am seems like an absolutely terrible idea. Seems like a really long journey, like 4 or 5 hours, and you speak to people from the States and they're like, oh, it's only 4 hours. I'm like, what do you mean only? There's no only 4 hours. That's 4 hours of your life you're not getting back. But I think it's the problem of our country just being small in general, is that we perceive those distances as being quite long. Whereas you guys are just like, you could drive the whole length of the... Yeah, exactly. 8 to 10 hours is probably most of the UK. Like, you could probably do the whole UK top to bottom in that time. Like, that wouldn't surprise me, because it takes me 2.5 hours to get to my parents' house, so maybe a little longer, but... Oh, this tree is lopsided. That is not the neatest tree I've ever seen. Let's fix that briefly. Only 8 to 10 hours tall. I mean, to be fair, we are dealing in, you know, people from the wonderful states. Yeah, I think 45 minutes is forever, but 6 hours is nothing. What is that? That's a monstrosity. One thing I was going to say, though, is as much as we love the United States and all the lovely people from it as well, I will admit that your measurement systems make no sense. And I know we use some of them as well, but why can't I get this to look right to me? Like, measuring distance in hours might as well be using, like, the imperial system, so, you know, it's just as useful. We're one of the only countries that also use it for anything, but over there you guys use it way more than we do. We're just like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to us anymore, so we ditched a lot of it. It's funny because you still see recipes and it's like, oh yeah, you need this. I'm like, I do not even know how to begin to measure that. Like, how on earth do you find these things? Oh, and in case anyone was wondering, I do a lot of cooking, so I like recipes that make sense to me. See, I like this, but I feel like, again, it's missing a bit here. So we just need, like, the edge of one. We make it stick out here. We're definitely not going to, like, Echo Clone levels of painting here, where Echo Clone had, like, 60 hours of painting scales onto something. Onto a snareling, wasn't it? Okay, let's fill in this. Just need to get that in there. I mean, that'll do. It doesn't have to be flawless. Now, the question is, do we put stars on the top of them? Or do we start working on more things? Also, if you didn't see it, I'm really, really proud. So, in fact, both Corallar and Dragonraven, I don't think you were here when I did the little rundown of the skin so far. So... Hey, Spogo. That was it, Spogo. The extra O's were superfluous. Nice to see you too. Yeah, so I'm just going through a little rundown of what my current painting competition entry is. So we have got Christmas pudding mines. So the actual mines look... So the way the game works as well is this mine here is actually how your mines in-game look as well. So if you're painting this skin, this front mine is actually how your mines look in-game. So we have Christmas pudding mines live on our server at the moment, which is wonderful. And then we've got... So I need to do Slopper's fur to make it look a little bit more reindeer-y, which we're going to do in a bit. This is... The whole idea is it's supposed to be Zach's on Christmas morning, and he's just been given all his presents, he wants to use it. We've got Slopper's eye is a giant bauble. So we've got a bauble as an eyeball for some reason. We've got Slopper's ear as a Christmas tree. And then to top the Christmas tree off, it's actually in a little plant pot on the back as well. Because it's supposed to emulate reindeer, instead of having a red nose, we've got the red glowing beacon at the end of his ear prong. So we've got that as well. We've got Zax, who's been given a Santa outfit. We've got two Zax here on his little label. So this is Zax, who's decided to wear his Santa outfit in the morning. He's got a gift-wrapped gun with some ribbon around it, and we're going to fill in this to make it look like wrapping paper or gift wrap, whatever you want to call it, around the rest of the gun as well. And then we've got a few like carrots for Slopper the reindeer. So we're trying to make this as festive as possible. Also with the mines, I coloured the these bits in to look like holly and holly berries, even though they're not on there, and I thought that was quite a nice little touch to leave that, you know, leave the colours and that. honestly, this mine looks amazing in game. I love seeing a Christmas pudding just rock up on the battlefield. It's great fun. So I think the next thing is probably just going to be to try and see if there's an easy way of doing stars. I'm really happy with the eye, right? How cute is it? Because from a distance, it just looks like an eye. It doesn't look like anything more than that. And then the more you zoom in, you actually realise it's a little Christmas bauble. And I like that idea. Like, I wasn't sure about it, and I wasn't sure if I should put more pattern on it or something like that, but I actually think just the little glint, the metallic paint, and filling it up is a really nice little touch. I spent ages doing the tree to get the glowing paints to look like all the lights, so you can see I've got like strings between all the lights and everything as well. And if you wanted to care, the strings actually do connect along the sides to the ones on the other side as well, so it's not just random strings on each side. Both the tinsel and the cabling connect from one side to the other. Admittedly, the cabling doesn't actually spiral, but that's not the point. Oh, and like I said earlier, in our house, for the last 3 years, we've had a little Santa hat that we've put on top of our Christmas tree, so I painted the end of this to look like a little Santa hat as well, so it actually matches the tree in our house. So that is why it's got a hat instead of a star or an angel or whatever people want to put on instead. So the next question is, how do we make a little glowing star? So it's probably the inspired paint, small brush. I wish we had just like a cross spray button, but okay, that looks a bit like a crown, but I actually don't think we're far off. What if we just did that? Yeah, I was just gonna say, do we think that looks fine with a little Christmas circle? Yeah, exactly, just a little dot. What I might even do is actually just undo that and just airbrush it and go a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger than that. So if you like this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty decent. Yeah, exactly. A dot is going to make... Like, I can't make the trees even, just in case you're wondering that. But I think this could work. So let's just do... And it also saves us like an hour. That one's wonky. Because trust me, I am the person that would spend an hour doing this, even though I don't think my art is that good. I'm still like, yeah, but if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it right. Not wonky. I'm going to do that one on the right in a moment because I think it's going to look... Actually, if we hold shift, this should work fine anyway. There we go. It is weird that this goes across a couple of different surfaces, so we have to just figure out when to hold shift and when not to. And the question is, do we put anything more on than that? I think that's quite a nice little design there. I don't think, because I think going into too much depth is just going to be a massive waste of time. Like, I don't know if I can bring myself to do that. So I suppose the next question should be, what do we do next? I'm really happy with how that's come out. Again, like, we've got a lot of work to do still. Like, hang on, have I just... Okay, I thought the background of Zax's eye was like yellow for a second. So it was actually suggested. Strange enough, it was suggested by Donya, the community manager. Donya suggested maybe painting these as poinsettias, but I didn't even know poinsettias were really a thing until last year. I'd never seen them before, so I was thinking of actually maybe doing those as poinsettias, but also leaving these as carrots for our little Rudolph over here as well. But yeah, like, I somehow had been sheltered from the idea of poinsettia plants my entire life. I'd never seen one. Like, I didn't know they were a Christmassy thing. I didn't know anything about them until my fiance turned up with one last year. I was like, oh, I've decided to get a poinsettia this year. I was like, oh, what? A poinsettia plant? You know, the Christmas plant? I'm like, there's a Christmas plant? My family are not particularly traditional. My family are very laid back in like a... Just to sort of, you know, we just do whatever we feel like, as in, you know, if they see one they fancied it, they'd have bought one, but probably not. Get there eventually. So it was interesting to have that sort of appear. Now, one of the things I want to figure out is what to do with these. Like, because I think these are going to be one of the interesting parts, because they're very focal. You know, you're going to see them a lot of the time. And I'm trying to work out what to do. Because originally I was going to try and gift wrap these like I gift wrap the gun. But it almost feels like these just don't look right in gift wrap. Also, when it comes to it, when I gift wrap the gun, I need to figure out what pattern I'm going to do on the gift wrap. I started doing the silver lines, and I'm not sure if I like them or not. I don't think I did them this side yet, no. So I can't figure out if I like the silver line to make it look like gift wrap or not, but I think I kind of do. So I'm not sold on ending that yet. I mean, are these actually... Okay, they're part of the reins. I was thinking, do we just give them some bling, but... We could do sleigh bells on something. If we could paint these to look like sleigh bells, that would be great, but I'm not sure if that's going to work. What other Christmassy things are there? Who's got Christmassy ideas? I mean, we could also just do the boots. We could just get these boots done now. So let's just paint the boots. Because I think Zax is going to have Santa-y boots regardless. Like, there's no way that that's not... Hang on, did we forget the... Ooh, when I change the colour, it looks like I forgot to do that one leg. So I'm glad I found that. Snowflakes. We could do snowflakes somewhere. Oh, what of the... I forgot, I was going to look at the frosty decals and see if there was anything here that we could use as well. Like, can we have anything with ice hanging off of it? That is true. Santa probably did wear black boots, didn't he? How black do we go for black? The question is, do we think Zax would follow that up, or do we think Zax would go different? I think black makes sense, but I don't know if it's that black. Maybe it's char. How about that? I mean, that looks pretty decent. And maybe like a ensnared for the sort of trim on these. And do we want something different at the top? Yeah, gold details would be nice. There we go. See, I'm glad we've got like a communal effort. Let's go with... Yeah, exactly. I don't use these black or white for anything. I use the smoke ones almost every single time. Like, I'm not a painter by any means, but I absolutely do subscribe to that that thought process. Let's go for a soot-coloured sole. I mean, that's actually a pretty sick looking boot. Like, I'm going to stipple it up in a bit with some dirt or something along those lines, but let's go with that. You taught painting in a bar for 3 years. That's awesome. Yeah, I agree on the gold trim. Gold trim looks really good. And we had for this. I really like the gold trim actually, because gold feels very festive and Christmassy and that sort of thing. Zach, oh, I didn't realise it's the same as this trim. Oops, I've covered over some of that. So let's just zoom in a little and clean this up a little bit. Zax really does feel like he'd be the person to wear things like this. Like, he really does feel like the person that would just go all out on their like Christmas Santa outfit and be like, absolutely, okay painter and an alcoholic. Yeah, no, Dragon Reaven, the gold was a great choice. I feel like we might need to do the belt in a similar colour. So if we do like the actual belt there, just pluck our little gold for the buckle. Yeah, like for me, Zax feels like any excuse to dress up, he'd be all in. He'd either be like, I'm not dressing up at all unless I get to do this properly. That would be my thought process of how Zax would go about things. For me, I'm not a big fan of dressing up. I'm not. Like, it's fun sometimes, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going all out. I'm not doing any half measures here. I'm going to be, getting anything I can. Like, I've got an entire full Mr. Incredible one piece at one point, so I could dress up as that for Halloween once. I've been like done pub golf and I've gone and buy like an entire charity shop golfer's outfit. I bought a white shirt and sorry, not a white shirt, like a yellow checked shirt and some like strange trousers to go as Dwight Schrute for Halloween once, I think it was. So like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go and do it properly. And like I did all my hair like Dwight and parted it and everything, and I mean black and gold's just so classy, isn't it? It's just a really nice, like good look. So the question is, do we go for the pyjama bottoms as well? I actually think we do. I'm just going to quickly just do this while we can. Yeah, this is going to look just like pyjamas. Okay, let's get some of these done. Shrink this brush down. I did want to try and move away from just doing trees for the entire stream, but who can resist Zax's crop? I mean, excuse me there. Didn't say anything. Obviously, pyjamas don't usually have belt loops, but that's something we're just going to have to live with. Yeah. I don't know if you know Chess, but there's an old song called Black and Gold by Sam Sparrow, which was in the UK charts for a while. And I ended up being lucky enough to see it live, even though they're not the biggest artists in the world or anything. They were just sort of like a fairly... Oh, those are way too big. So let's go smaller. But yeah, it was a pretty good song. And it made me laugh because after that came out a few years later, I ended up visiting Australia, and it turns out that Black and Gold is the name of like a budget food brand. So I was just like, there's this artist that's singing like, Black and Gold, if it's like quite a classy thing, and then it's literally the name of like the cheapest food in one of their chains of stores. It's like, oh, yeah, Black and Gold butter, Black and Gold cheese. It's like, yep, that is not the same vibe whatsoever. It was quite a good song. Like, it was, how to describe it? It was quite melodic, but I enjoyed it. Like, it's not my standard type of music. I've actually got very, very varied music taste, actually, so saying my standard type of music probably doesn't actually help anything, because I like literally anything. I've gone from things like... Okay, I know some people complain about them, but I really enjoy Bring Me the Horizon and their music. I like that a lot. I like Fall Out Boy. I like dance music. I like R&B, rap, hip-hop, all that sort of thing. Like, a bit of everything. I really do just enjoy good music, regardless of the genre, which I think is a great thing. It just means I can enjoy, a lot of variety of music. Also, while we've got a few people here, time to do the whole like Twitch shill thing. And if any of you've got a spare Twitch Prime sub, please do send it my way. I would be incredibly grateful. I'm getting closer to being able to actually get to the amount where you can redeem the funds from it. So that would be an actual dream, because that would be the first anything I've made back from doing any of the Moonbreaker content. That is an awfully shaped Christmas tree. And yeah, I've been trying to work really hard on all of these things. So if anyone has a spare Twitch Prime, please send it my way. Coral, you wonderful human being. Oh, that's just made my day. Sorry you don't have a spare Twitch Prime. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much. Like, I don't think you guys realise how much these things mean to me, because at the moment I'm actually off work. I've basically had a few issues with my mental health, and it's caused a lot of stress and anxiety and that sort of thing. So I'm having some temporary leave from work. I'm going back again in the new year, and I'm going to have a lot on my plate just in terms of work to do, because I've been off of work for a while. And so any little bit of input from this really does it really makes my day, because this is something that I've been able to sort of jump into when I've been struggling, and I felt like I've had like a lack of a goal sometimes, where I'm like, I just feel like I need something to work towards, and making the Moonbreaker content has been a great look. Oh yeah, I should look at this. Right, I'm gonna have to close this down immediately, because otherwise, as in after we've looked at it, because otherwise my stream will absolutely just crash and crumble to pieces. Let's see what we've got. We have got a loading screen. Yeah, no, I need to look at Chess's roster. Come on, be something awesome. Oh yeah, I've seen these. I've definitely played against you with these. I'm sure I have. They look great. I like it that on some of them it's like a little feature. I wasn't talking about the roster, I was talking about the paint job. The paint job looks great. Is that... I'm rubbish at flags. I really want to say... I want to say Israeli? Tell me what flag it actually is, because I'm rubbish with flags. Like, I'm rubbish with anything geography-based whatsoever. But I want to figure out what that flag is. See if I've got any chance of getting it right. It's probably something completely different. I've just made a fool of myself. But... oh, it's Indian. Ah, of course it is. Of course. See, I've never been to India. I wouldn't mind going. I'd actually quite like to go to a lot of different places in Asia, but... oh, of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, no, that's definitely not definitely not Israel at all. There is zero chance of that ever having been Israel. I am so bad at this. Oh dear. No, I'd love to visit India. I'd absolutely love to. I'm really interested in, like... to be honest, I'm gonna put it out there. It's just for the food. I love Indian food. I'd love to visit the country as well, but most of the trips abroad I ever go on, like anywhere, there's a part of me that's like, am I just in this for the food? Like, I think my partner's sometimes like, do you not just want to go and experience the culture or like the beautiful cities? I'm like, they are beautiful because they house beautiful food. Have you not got this yet? It's delicious food. Why are you not accepting that this is a perfectly valid motive for going to other countries, to try lovely food? And frankly, I don't regret a penny. I don't regret a single bit of it. I've had what is supposedly the best hot chocolate in the world while in Belgium, which was great. I really did enjoy it. It was delicious. I've had... what else? We've been to France. We had some amazing food. Yeah, so Birmingham has what I believe is called the Curry Mile, which is just a mile of restaurants, literally a mile-long road, I think it is, with just almost nothing but Indian restaurants. So I actually live in the city across from somewhere called Bradford, and Bradford has one of the biggest sort of English-Indian communities in the country. And so I've been there for a couple of curries before, and there's incredible food. Like, even in my city as well, there's some unbelievable Indian food. But yeah, we've got, I think behind Birmingham, Bradford has one of the largest Indian communities in the country. So I'm very lucky to be near lots of delicious Asian food. I've also only recently discovered that there is a little takeaway that delivers to here, and they do sort of Chinese, Japanese, Korean, like that sort of, you know, East Asian style food, and it's unbelievably good. Like, I've never thought that somewhere that does multiple countries' cuisines could do something that well, and it's been incredible. Like, I can't get my head around how well they've done it. I've had everything from like sushi, poke bowls, bibimbap. I've had bao buns. I've had from there a few times, and they've got like curries. They've got Chinese, like just general Chinese food as well. It's actually amazing. So really happy to see that. And yeah, delicious food is absolutely up there. I'm also lucky enough that near where I live, so for my 30th birthday a few years ago, my partner got us a table at a restaurant called Man Behind the Curtain in Leeds, and it's a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's by someone who's been on some very famous cooking shows in the UK. He's the chef, and it was probably the single greatest dining experience of my entire life. It was just unbelievable. Everything was like mind-blowing, and I couldn't get my head around how unlike any other food I've had. Like, it was just so much better than anything I've eaten in my entire life, and I couldn't believe how good food could get. And on top of that, the experience was fantastic. The staff were absolutely incredible. I mean, it was very expensive, so it needed to be worth it. But I was just so impressed at how well it was done that I can't believe how much of a good time we had for that. And I've been to other Michelin star restaurants since. like we don't go often or anything like that. It's not like we can afford to, but we've been to, I think, one more Michelin-starred restaurant, and I think we've been to like a couple of other tasting menus, and none of them have quite compared. Some of them have been really good, but one of them was like an extra 25% of the price on top and wasn't as good. And at that point I was like, oh, that just almost feels like, was that one worth it? And it was sort of like, the others were because they were such good experiences. It's something completely different. You're trying stuff you've never tried, and one of them was just really good food, but it wasn't anything you'd have not tried anywhere else. It was just a better version of it. And that was the first one where I was like, I'm not sure I think that was worth all the money that it came for. Whereas, yeah, the very first one I went to, if someone ever got a chance to, if someone was interested in food, I would send them there in a heartbeat. Best food I've ever eaten in my life. And then afterwards we were looking around the corner because there was basically a bunch of people walking up to one spot, and we couldn't see what was there, and they kept just like taking photos and then leaving. I was like, well, that's strange, I wonder what's there. And we went round at the end and we realised it was just the entrance into the kitchen. As if the one on like Zax's Gooch is the best Christmas tree we've drawn so far. But it was just the entrance to the kitchen. It had the big like restaurant logo there, so people were taking photos in front of the logo. And we were some of the last people there. We'd been there for 3.5 hours, and we went over to have a look. And the waitress came over, and she just said, oh, were you wanting to see in the kitchen? I was like, yes, of course I was wanting to see in the kitchen. And then they actually said, all right, give us a couple of minutes. And I got to go in, meet all the chefs that cooked the food, see all the equipment in like a Michelin star kitchen. Oh, it was heaven. I can't believe how lucky I felt to just go and be able to look around in that. That really topped off the night, and just, it was incredible. Do we have to pick? Oh, we're going to have to paint Zax's booty. I hadn't thought of this. We need to colour in the rest of his booty. I mean, no one's going to see it. I feel very awkward painting at this angle. But if people have got the 3D view, we might have to keep on painting Zax's arse. Either way, for now, I think I'm going to leave it with that and just do the... it was Inspired we chose, wasn't it? With an airbrush. For now, I'm going to leave it at that. That can be a if we need to project, or if we have time. So let's just draw some stars. But yeah. If any of you have got any like food recommendations, I'm always on board to hear it. Do you know one thing that actually surprises almost every American person I ever speak to is I don't think I've ever had a real taco. They don't really exist over here. Like, nowhere does tacos. There's not really much in the way of Mexican food at all. Like, there was one restaurant that I ordered from around here every so often, and they've gone out of business. So, no tacos, no Mexican food normally anyway. I've had quite a few like burritos and enchiladas, but tacos just don't really come very high on the agenda. Nobody really does them. I think that really does look like that Zax in his pyjamas now. Like, especially with the matching top and bottom. Do you know what? I feel like I'd like tacos. I'm not sure I'd like the hard shell ones. I'd like the soft shells, because I'm one of those people, and like, I am a bit weird in this, I'll admit. I don't like tortilla chips, as in like I don't like Doritos and that sort of thing, or nachos in general. I'm not a fan. For some reason I don't like them, but I like tortillas. Yeah, hard shell is fake Americanized tacos. But I love tortillas themselves. I don't like tortilla chips. So, absolutely. And the thing is, I like every food, so it's strange for me to not like food. I feel like this is going so well. This is such a good painting. I'm really, really proud of this. Like, I don't want Christmas to not happen, because I want to keep running this paint job forever. Yeah, just more. It's just more awkward nachos. What's funny about nachos is I like everything that goes on top of them. Like, anything that you put on top of nachos, I love it all. I love like the... Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm not a big guac fan. I don't like guacamole very much. But that's because I don't like avocado in general. And I want to like everything. Like, there's not many foods I don't like, but some of the ones I don't like are really prominent. So, like, I don't like mushrooms, I don't like avocados. again, I can't really think of much else. Like, I'm not a big tropical fruit fan, but other than that, I like almost everything. Like, I'll try any meat, any vegetable, anything under the sun. I'm constantly trying them all, and I absolutely love it. But it's just those few things that really do stand out to me as like not something that I'm a big fan of. Okay, so I feel like we're going to leave Zax's bum for now. Maybe this is just patterned on the front. And we need to figure out what to do. So, what do we do with the knee pads? Ooh, I didn't realise that's actually the same as the smoke. So we've got knee pads to work out. We've got this to work out here, the whole saddle situation. I mean, let's just start by making the saddle like a leathery colour. Is there that? The brass. I think this is one of the ones I quite liked. But I don't know if this is how I want to keep it. So let's just fill the whole thing in for now. Weird that it didn't pick those bits. Because I think, to me, this is going to be hard to stand out from Slopper. But then again, I actually need to get up a reference photo to see what colour reindeers are, as in like what colour their fur, how the fur changes and that sort of thing, to make Slopper look a little bit more reindeery. One of the things I am going to probably want to do as well is at some point just like go for the ears and make the insides like a bit more, you know, this sort of thing. Like obviously neater than this, but because no animal has the same like inside of ears as out quite the same. It always looks slightly different. It's like I probably want to do something like this on both sides, because I mean that looks loads better to me. And we've obviously got the missing ear, so we don't need to worry about that one. Good night, Dragon Raven. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you here. I hope you enjoy London. You can say it's quite a nice place, London. A bit too big for me, but very nice. And enjoy Scotland on your way up there as well. Hopefully you have a great trip to my lovely country in the UK. But yeah, have a nice evening. Okay, let's just fill these in again for now. We can always do more later on. I just want to, like, I want to get this to the point where I could feel like I could enter it in the competition without it feeling unfinished. Because I'd really like to be able to get one more stream in to finish this off, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, so I really need to just, you know, fill in some details and get this looking more reindeery and more completed, in fact. So I think the gun and the discs are probably one of the main ones to do. Figuring out how we do that. Is there any Christmas decoration that sticks out like that? I mean, we could do them as like candles, but I think that's going to be a bit difficult to do. I mean, this leather saddle is again going to be... What if we did actually? What if we did the saddle the same as Zax's boots? So did like, but did it in like 3 layers again. So we did like the base layers in black. Oh, that's the trim. Interesting. I thought that would be the base colour, but apparently that saddle part there is the trim. So let's just colour that back in. There we go. And then if we did like the gold on it there to match Zax's outfit a little bit. Oh, those are gold as well, eh? Okay, I'm not sure I like those being gold. We're getting too close on that front. So this will be in gold, I like. If it all goes gold. I'm not sure I like those middle bits being gold. But I'm not sure what on to... Do you know what we can do with those? I figured it out. I know what we can do. Right. If anyone figures this out, what I'm going to do on these in the next few seconds, I will be very impressed. I'll give you like 15 seconds to see if anyone figures out what I'm going to do with these. Yes, Corilla! You figured it out straight away. No doubt whatsoever. How did you both get that? I thought I was being quite clever coming up with that. Like, I thought I was being a genius and being like, oh, no one's ever going to think of doing candy canes. You both immediately thought candy canes. You've just shown me that I am not as clever as I think I am. I mean, true. Yeah, true, what else? What about churros? Just make them into Christmas churros. Christmas. I do love a Christmas worm. What if we did them as just earthworms, but put a little Santa hat on them? Nobody would expect it. We could literally just little wiggly earthworms, Santa hat, job done. So we find like our earthworm colour. Probably be like one of these. Let's just do it on the end one. Get for this. A bit smaller. Where's the... Go, a little bit lower opacity here. A bit smaller. We just need to draw the saddle in. Because earthworms have that weird little saddle. There you go, Christmas worm. Job done. There was never any doubt that that's what we were going for. Christmas worm. There's a part of me that wants to keep that now. Just have like candy canes next to a Christmas worm. But you know what? That's not the worst worm I've ever seen. It looks a little bit like a hot dog where something's gone wrong, or like a sliced hot dog. But either way, I'm sorry, worm, you were not meant for this world. Your beauty will have to wait for another day. Oh, we need that opacity back. I'm happy with that worminess. Now I think for this, because it's candy canes, do we want the same red as this, or do we want to go for like the more vibrant red? I feel like it probably is more like this. And just zoom in. Okay, it needs to be bigger than that. Get too close together. There we go. Do you know what? That's not the worst candy cane I've ever seen. Yep, guess we're doing candy canes. Okay. Still, obviously like you said, that what else could it be, but I'm still really impressed that you both just picked up on that immediately. Okay. Bit wonky, but maybe let's just redo that one. Of course I'd give myself something with like loads of little bits to do rather than just colouring it in a block colour, because that seems to be sort of the style of painting I choose anyway. I'll tell you one thing though, if you were ever like wanting to stand on the back of a beast of some sort and you wanted to find a way to be stable and you were unwilling to use both of your stirrups. Ah, okay, yeah, that might be it. But yeah, if you were unwilling to use your stirrups properly and things like that, you'd definitely stick to candy canes better than some other stuff. So I mean, there's worse things to use as like a stabilisation device than candy canes. Okay, let's just... I tell you what, I'm going to try and speed up a little here, because I think worms seem sticky, but I feel like the first one that actually went splat and didn't survive, you'd then be in a very slippery situation. Yeah, I feel like maybe worms are sticky, but their guts maybe not so much. Bit of a morbid topic, so I apologise for making it take a turn there. Like, worm murder, probably not on your standard agenda. Also, I don't know why, but I can't bring myself to start at the bottom and go up, even though that would make more sense. I feel like I have to go at the top and work down. And I don't know why. It doesn't make sense at all. But I feel like I'm doing it wrong if I'm not working down... I was about to say down the pole, and that just sounds pretty dodgy. Well, like, if anyone's heard it, the from the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, the song by the old 97s called I Don't Know What Christmas Is might be my favourite new Christmas song in a while. I actually think that song is fantastic. I've been walking around the house playing that song to myself and just being like, I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. It's great. Absolutely loved it. And that holiday special, even if you're not that big into Marvel, it was so funny. Like, you don't even need to know the characters. You can just sort of tune in. A really light-hearted, like 45-minute long, like completely nonsensical, ridiculous Christmas adventure. I highly recommend it to anyone who's even just vaguely wanting some festive spirit. And by festive spirit, I don't mean alcohol. I would probably actually be sat down with a whiskey right now if I didn't have to pick up my partner later on, because I've recently, so for a while now, I've been drinking bourbon, which I like. Bourbon. Oh no! Please don't tell me I'm going to have to adjust the size to do this at a certain angle. But yeah, I've been like gradually getting into more sort of straight spirits as I get a bit older, and bourbon's been one I've started enjoying a lot more. And then recently I thought, you know what, I'll try one of the sort of the nicer whiskies. Nothing like spectacular, but a nice-ish whiskey that some old neighbours gave us. I tried it, I was like, oh my god, it's like alcohol and honey mixed together, it's delicious. And now I'm just like, the bottle's sat there, and I could really do with something tasty and delicious here, but unfortunately I have to be driving. But yeah, it wasn't, like I said, nothing spectacular, but it was an 18-year-old Glenfiddich. So just your sort of your fairly normal Scotch whiskey, but the slightly better than normal version of it, because I used to work in a bar and we served mostly the 8-year-old, sometimes the 12, and not very often the 18. And so yeah, I've got a bottle of that lying around and it's absolutely delicious. There we go. Zax's Candy Canes. That's come out great. I feel like the rest of the saddle needs something doing to it, but I can't figure out what. Like, for now I'm going to stick with the gold. I'm tempted even to invert these colours and make it so, like, black is the leather. Let's try that quickly. Hey, Spooky. Nice to see you, man. Yeah, we're just trying to figure out, like, you know, which parts of this to trim. Because, I mean, now that looks more like gingerbread with candy canes in it, which I actually quite like. Let's stick with this. So basically, Spooky, if you haven't seen this, we're going all out on Zax's Christmas morning. And so we've got our Christmas pudding mines, we've got a Christmas tree as an ear, we've got Rudolph's red nose as an antenna beacon, we've got Zax wearing his Christmas pyjamas, he's been given a Santa outfit for his Christmas present, and we're wrapping up his gun as we speak. So we've been drawing loads of different bits and pieces, trying to make a really sweet little Santa outfit. We've just been doing the candy cane saddle. I feel like this colour isn't right. I don't know what it needs to be, but there is a lot of detail on this, I will admit. Like, because that doesn't look bad. But what about like a coppery sort of thing? What I like doing with this, if we go for the execution, so if we go for this, but then we go for the non-metallic, because that's the... Actually, no wait. If we go for bronze, what I like doing for this, yeah, a lighter shade of black. I mean, because this is what we used before. Does it work on a white background? I don't mind that. That's not too bad. What if we did white with like a sort of a frosty blue wash? I wonder if that would do much for it. That looks quite wintry. Yeah, we could go for a tree look as well. Basically what I'm trying to do is avoid doubling up on different festive themes. So let's try. Well, if we go for dark green, we've got the perfect colour because we've got trees on here, we've got his tree ear, so let's just pick that up and see what it looks like on this. In fact, what we could do is if we're doing it on the tree colour, that's a wash, that's not going to help. Don't want the opacity. That's quite nice. Also, I know it sounds strange, but I kind of like it that this doesn't have the same colour at the bottom, although I actually do think it... No, now that I've thought about it, I actually think this needs to be white, because that would be like the end of the candy cane, so that's never going to have the red on it, because that would be where it snapped off. So we actually need to make sure they are all white, or it's not going to be a real candy cane. Yeah, I can picture that as like a... Do you know what I actually want to do to make this look how I think I want it? Is stipple it a little bit with the backfire. And what I've tend to find works really nicely is zooming in quite far before stippling. So, in theory this won't look like much to most people, but if we just fill all of this in with a little stipple, it stops it looking quite as clean. And because I'm colourblind, I can barely tell the difference here anyway. But I think it just sort of, it takes some of that cleanness away from it and makes it look a little bit more natural. Because everything being too clean looks a bit odd to me. So I think that looks a little bit more sort of rough and ready. What do we think of that? Spooky, that might be a very good suggestion. Like, I can barely see the brown, but I know that if I undo that... Well, I don't know, because sometimes things look... But sometimes clean looks right. That's the thing, like, sometimes having a really clean looking model is exactly what you need. Whereas other times, it looks a bit out of place. Like, on most of this model, I haven't done any washing or anything. Like, I haven't done any stippling or anything. Like, all of the Santa's hat and his cloak are all completely untouched. Fair enough, well let's go back and... what if we undo this? So, let's give it... Let's try the dark green wash. It doesn't help, I am genuinely quite colourblind sometimes, and it's red and green where my colourblind comes in, so this looks fairly dark to me. Let's go big brush. Like, I don't think this isn't dark enough. I think it just needs maybe a dry brush in like in the soot colour, or the char actually. It just needs something to take it to be a little bit more like textured almost for me. What about this? Is that done enough? Because there's not many surfaces raised up there. No. Let's go wash again. That's nice. I think that looks really nice actually. Hopefully you guys don't think that looks too dark. Because it's sort of, you still got the colour popping through, but I feel like it's got that bit of depth and sort of richness to it. It still stands out a little bit from the sides. Again, having an opinion from someone who isn't colourblind would probably be quite valuable here, so please do feel free to tell me if I'm being wrong. Or if it's like, maybe it's too far, maybe it's too close to the black, but... I kind of like it. Let me know what you think. I'm going to move on somewhere. Yeah, thank you. Like, I like this as a communal effort. Also, I was looking at trying to think what to do with Slopper's teeth, but I actually think I'm literally going to do this and just... That's probably a bit too much. Wash them slightly and then call it a day. Their teeth are literally going to be the base colour in game plus some wash. Maybe it's a little bit more. So if you think it's a little too dark, I think is that the only reason I wanted it darker is because I've got these two things, both the pyjamas and the tree, using the same green, and I don't want to go over the top on the same colour. But maybe, what if we dry brushed it with like an exhaust or something over the top? So that way we've kept a lot of the sort of the depth of colour, but it's not quite as blatantly dark. This does stand out a little bit more from, because it's only really coloured the middle bit. So what do we think of that? Because around the edges pretty much you've still got the same depth, and it's lightened it up a little. It almost looks frosty anyway. Let's go with that. Do you know what we should totally look at, like putting a little, like, can we make, how small can we make this? Nope, that was the wrong button. I did not want to place that. A little, like, snow splatter on his shoes. I actually don't hate that. Is that awful that I don't hate that? I'm probably being strange here. What if we put like this one as well, and only on one side? I don't want it to like feel like it needs to be symmetrical or anything, but or does it look a bit too much like a bird got involved? Like, this could be snow, but it could very much also just be a bird came nearby. Well, decals are easy to redo later. Is Mount Slobber? Well, at the moment I've tried to make it look so it's not actually slobbering, it's actually just the icing off of the Christmas pudding coming down. So I tried to like involve that in the thematics. Oh yeah, oh you mean that could have been the slobber rather than the bird. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so where do we need to go from colour here? I'm going to have to find a nice stopping point for this to split this into two for the YouTube video, so do you know what I'm going to do actually? I'm going to stop this here for now. I'm going to call this a day for the YouTube video. I'm going to literally come back in a few seconds to carry on with this, but I'm going to go grab my phone. I'm going to start a new version, so I'll do a little outro for the YouTube. I'll be back in like literally 30 seconds. For anyone that's enjoyed watching this, please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Obviously this has been a stream. We're uploading it for you guys so you can see it as well. I've been really enjoying this so far. I'm going to keep going in a moment, and we're going to have a bit more, you know, and hopefully another video of this as well. We're going to keep doing our painting competition, but make sure you like it, subscribe, comment, let us know whether you think I'm doing a good job, a bad job, if Spooky, Corallar, Chess and Dragon Raven have been giving good advice or terrible advice, and most importantly, have a good day. I'm back in a moment.